All right, I think we're live. So, welcome to 2024. And as promised, I will go on with my Diary of a Salesman journey. And I hope you had a good Christmas time, a good time with your families, a good time with your friends. I had a good New Year's celebration, and right now, probably like me, starting to get back into the work mode. As you know, I'm now at their zero. We are having an exciting year ahead. A lot of things to do on our observability mission. Super excited. But yeah, as I started last year with the Diary of a Salesman thing, I will go on with it. But first, I want to say now I do a video. I try to do it a bit different. Last time I did like blogs, short blogs, and I want to do this in a video format, and we'll also publish a transcript to see like how you like it. And then I'm happy for some feedback and everything. So, okay, let's start. So, where did it end, right? I told you about that I was a techie. I told you that I did like some training there. I did projects. I stumbled due to the merger of the company where I worked for into the sales position where I just claimed myself some footsteps. Um, was kind of successful because, as I stated, I understood the needs. I uh, really listened. I create really value for them, and this I did without having a course in value selling. I didn't read Selling to Veto or Challenger Sale. I just did it in a very natural way, and in just my personal Marcel way. This worked out pretty well. But again, what the last article, the last blog ended up that I said, hey, from this point I did like I went to my boss, said like I want to be a sales, because beforehand I did like 50% of consultancy work and 50% of sales, and you know how this works, right? It's just like not really scaling, and I want to get just better in it. I want to be like more efficient in my sales work, which was not possible when I have billable hours, minimum 50%, and I always I overdone them. So I got the chance. I got my first quota. I never knew what a quota is before. It was my sales goal. For those who are not familiar with, I defined a sales goal with my boss, which is kind of challenging, and it was scary because for me it was like, oh shit, I need to deliver numbers. They measure me on this. It's somehow very transparent in sales, right? Nobody should forget that. Sales always sounds like these are the people sitting around having a good time, spending a lot of money. But it's also you're very, very pants down on the field because the numbers are not lying. Whatever you do, for sure, you can explain things, but in the end, it's about what you deliver. So what we did is we defined that. First time back in the days we did it like in different categories. So I had a consultancy goal and a hardware goal and a software subscription goal, which was not really subscription because it was perpetual software where you pay maintenance and support fee. It's not like nowadays that you just kind of rent the software, and if you stop it, it doesn't belong to you. No, this was different times. It's barely done today. In the big corporates, they are still doing it, I think, but the world is a SaaS world. Come as you go, get the subscription going for a monthly or yearly period, and if you stop it, then you stop it. But then you also do not earn the software anymore. So we defined this hybrid goals based on the numbers before, and kind of luckily, unluckily, on my growth of the years before. And then it all started, and I think I called it in the last chapter an enterprise seller lost in space. Why did I say that? Because just imagine you start, you never did really understand that you really are doing sales, and now you do not have billable hours that you need to fulfill. Now you need to deliver numbers, but I had like no clue. So what I did is I I really started to talk to some people and look left and right, but in general, I took all of the customers. I made a kind of a how to say a categorization of what do they have, when are they renewing, how big are they, when is there a touch point, and really started. And back in the days, we talk about existing customership, and again, this is an interesting part too. It was not new customer. I was taking care of existing customers mainly, like 90%, and everything else was inbound. So we had like banks of, it was 230 Germany wide banks, and I scheduled them, pushed out everything that's far away with renewals and everything, and really started to focusing on the top 50. And I started calling them, right? I scheduled meetings. I asked like how are things going, what their next steps are, what their like yearly plannings are. I ask about the budgetary situations, where they want to scale out, and I spent literally, I think, the first 8 weeks only on doing information gathering, because it was barely done, because it was a running business and everything was very on the project themselves and very ad hoc. Um, so this is what I done. And at the end, I had like a massive Excel sheet. Oh my lord! Unluckily, I don't have the picture anymore. I would love to show you. Many sheets, in categorizations, in prioritizations, and then again, I called them. And the second thing, this was a time where very much on site at the customer. Right? I think I was every week on tour. There was no week where I'm just like sitting in the office and I don't know, just do calls or video remote, because the whole video thing was not really as it is now, right? Having a camera, a cool microphone, and whatever. So I took my car and I think I drove like 50 to 60,000 kilometers all over Berlin, Hamburg, Munich. Doesn't matter, because we served the clients worldwide, the banks. And then yeah, and then I talked to them. I did like a scope. I scoped everything with them, because in general, back in the days, I understood very fast, mm, that there were always like the same kind of pain points, right? They must make sure that they are compliant. They must make sure that they are efficient, because the people who did the jobs, like back in the days, was like scanning, and there were not many, so they knew they must start to scale out, because it gets too pricey to hire more and more people to do that. So I focused very much on automation, on I and try to find like new fields that I can make attractive to them. So we talked a lot about IRC, a lot about OCR, a lot about, like I said, it's like recognition, right? So it's like scanning paper or handwritten recognitions, automate, especially also the data extraction, and then the research in the databases, enrich the data so that they're just literally, the whole process gets way more efficient. And this is what I told to them. It was very easy math, because I could told them like, you can spend X, which you anyway need to do in the future, and you save upon uh, this amount of time. You even can backfill people if they get sick or something. And why is this important to them? You need to understand. So the field where I was on the way means there was very paper-lastic world, and it's still so, by the way. It's like it's got way more digitalized, but there's still paper. So, and if the paper is not being digitalized, scanned, and routed to the right people, it's not being like taken care of. so the so if you think of insurance cases, right, that was also part of it, right? Or if you think about like banking cases, when you go to a counter and want to talk to somebody and he doesn't find your document, it's like screwed. It takes time, right? And so this was critical that this works. And we talk about millions of pages being scanned, right? Like not 100,000 or something. We talk about 10, 20, 50 million of documents. Um, yeah, so this is what I did. So lesson learned from this, when I look back at it, um, if you have an existing customer base, then use it, right? It's the easiest thing is to talk to the people. And I didn't go there and tell them like, um, hey, I have XYZ, what do you think? What I did was that I asked them. I just said like, hey, tell me, where are you at? What are you doing now? What is not working? Is there anything like that you think could be improved? Are there things that you're worrying about in the year, and so on? And from that on, the people tell you. It's like, uh, it sounds so easy, but the people forget about that. But when you talk and ask, and it's for me the same, when somebody asks me like, "What is your worry on that? What do you struggle the most with?" Then I'm happy to tell. Then I'm happy to get this burden away and talk to the people and give. Maybe they have ideas how I can improve on that. Maybe you have ideas how I can improve on my video thing here or whatever. And yeah, so uh, it's as easy as that, right? I mean, when you have a customer base, you have a lot of like benefits that you should start there. And with this, I can tell you, I was fully fulfilled because a lot of projects popped out that need to be planned out. So I created again this list and worked through it, and I think it took not long. Maybe I think through the mid of the year, I had like the the forecast of projects done for the next 6 to 12 months, and I knew like, okay, it was more than like a problem of how can I scale them, how should I prioritize them, how do I optimize like also the commercial part, because we do not give stuff away for free or something. That's not the case, but it must be like, it's a bit of a balance that you need to find between the technical delivery, because we had also not 100% capacities, and as I started to go very wild, that was a problem that people need to execute it, and as I was not on the field anymore, it was a problem. I can tell you, by the way, I ended up being on the field as well, so it didn't work. So I used this to go on site, support my colleagues, and then also talk to the decision makers there, talk to the techies there, and just like had conversations, make myself a picture, especially at the bigger clients. I did this very, very often, and a lot with pleasure. Um, yeah, so this is how I started in there. So if you get into the sales world, um, take let me call this, take the low hanging fruits, benefit from the experience from others, talk to your colleagues and everything. You should work with what's there. Again, I'm not yet. We do not talk about like startup, like greenfield, nothing. We talk about you have a client base. You start as an inside sales or even as an enterprise sales. I don't know. So go there, talk, daily base, build up the trust. Listen, ask, and then really think what could help them. And when they tell you the biggest points, which they just want to get rid of, which is causing them sleepless nights. I don't know, where cases where they get ring out of the bat because things are not working. These are the things that really are painful, and then figure out if there is a chance for purchasing. Is there's a timeline. The most important thing is a timeline too, right? So if you have a pain point, you must honestly ask, like, hey, when can we do that? When do you have budget for this? I mean, I know it's a pain for you, but is it such a pain that you are able to get some credits for this? And if you have this, well, that's like just execution, and then go for it. Yeah, that's what I did, right? And then I learned also the first, really, when I look at it, how I do my job now, and in the last years, I I kind of forecasted. It was nothing more than a bit in the CRM. We had a CRM back there, sure, but like I did a lot on still on my Excels and with months, but I had a clear vision which project I'm working on, when is it executed and when it is purchased. And but this helped me a lot to get way more visibility in the future, and also like what if you need more people to do the consultant job and so on. So yeah, it's as simple as that. Was exciting when I talk about this. It reminds me a lot um, how it started. And the cool thing is that not everything had changed. I have more tools, I have more knowledge, I have everything gained. But in the end, when I even now talk to possible new clients or to customers of ours, it's just about understanding them, really getting yourself to think or to look through their eyes and to feel with them, to understand what is their problem. Just imagine you work there and you are in this situation knowing, oh, this is a pain point. And then think about how can you solve it. And if you can't, then you can't, right? Then don't try to artificially make up something. Work with what you have. You do not need to reinvent wheels. You do not need to go back to your product team and say, we need tons of more features. I mean, If it's a significant deal, maybe you do. It's a strategical decision. But other than that, just listen and work with what you have. Yeah, so this is what I've done like for, I don't remember, 1.5 years, 2 years. And again, very successful in this way, right? You always need to think of it was a bit of a different time. It was 15 to 20 years ago now. But after a couple of years, the journey got a bit further. I will not come now. We do this in the next, but I'll give you a bit of a teaser. Because what happened is, as you might know, that I work a lot with Mirko, and he detected me kind of. I remember this very good. We talked at a coffee station in the break and said like, "Hey, what's up? What's here?" And he said, "You're doing this and this very well." And it was a time where the company I work for, Concentric, founded a joint venture called Ascenta device. This was like the German-made Dropbox. Also very modern. We had the idea of a folderless storing of documents, everything over search. It was very cool. Everything conformed by the regulations and so on. And yeah, that was what was founded. And yeah, he said, let's talk about that because we need some power. And I saw you did not a very bad job. So yeah, so that was then my next step, right? I went I sit down with the all involved people at Century Device, and my role was then like, I don't know, an all-in sales guy. Like I was a pre-sales, also again enterprise sales, post-sales guy. But yeah, I will come back to that in the next story. It was just not a long chapter, but a very valuable lesson learned chapter with a lot of ups and downs, I can tell you. And also, by the way, don't get this wrong, right? In the time where I did my sales, what I today talked about, I had my downs, right? Oh my gosh, there were things where I failed on the commercials because I don't know I negotiated the margin not good enough, or I miscalculated also the consultancy. Well, this is something that if you take this as a final wrap, like you will fail, right? And you only fail when you work. You only fail when you work hard and a lot, and be open to it. I mean, nobody kills you when you try to do just the best of work that you can do. You will get the support, and if not, then maybe you need to also rethink if this is a place where you want to be at. Because I think nowadays it's very important to give the people the chance just to try it out and do fail, right? I mean, they should learn from it for sure. Um, but this was happened to me kind of on a daily basis because I did new things. I always need to learn them, and you can imagine when a young 20s guy goes to banks, right? I looked in my suit like like a clown sometimes, way too big. I had no idea of any fashion. I only wear shirts. But when you go to a bank, you must wear suits. Yeah, I mean, how do you think people look at you, right? I come from a robot area. Even my language was sometimes where they made jokes out of it. But this is I use this like as a platform too, right? To say like, yeah, well, we say wat and dat in the pot, and I try to make this as professional as I can. But all of these things were a lesson learned to understand the people, right? I mean, this was sometimes very, especially when I got to the north, the people are so tall. I was like not very tall, very average. Yeah, you can imagine it was scary. I was very excited for every meeting that I had, especially when it's new meetings. But I knew one thing. I knew that I know my stuff. I know the project. I know the environment. I know what's going on there. So what do they want me to tell? I can't tell you about left and right what they maybe want to hear, but I can tell exactly everything about what was my stake. There was no blank field almost, right? I had my contacts, I had everything. So this is why I was kind of very confident to talk with them about this. And if not, you can tell that. You tell them no. I don't know. I have no clue. I come back with you with an answer. Be sure. Yeah. So yeah. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you like it. No idea. It's my first take, by the way, and I will not do a second one. No time, right? We need to work. And appreciate that. Um, Follow me on my journey, and looking forward to feedback and some nice conversations. So thank you very much, and tune in next time when we talk about my first real enterprise sales role. And that was a lot of more learnings than I expected, I can tell you. So cheerio, and thank you.